Hello, everybody. Well, this was going to be my Big Ten Leaders Division preview for 2013, but a change of plans. As a matter of fact, I already had the show reported. By the way, I picked Ohio State to win the leaders, just so we cut to the chase, and picked to win the Big Ten in general over Nebraska. But I did have Ohio State at some point this year to lose one game. They had too many close calls last year against teams that really weren't that good. I mean, Purdue was 6-7. Come on, they were 6-7, and Ohio State at home had to score 8 points in the last few minutes just to get that game to overtime to win. Had the Michigan State game, they won by 1 point, and Michigan State finished 7-6. And that was just a couple of games. They only beat Cal by 7, and Cal only won 3 games a year ago. Ohio State's going to be pretty darn good. Don't get me wrong. Offense is going to be loaded defensively. They've got question marks up front. So I think somebody's going to get them this year, either Northwestern or Michigan. I think they will beat Wisconsin, however, that game's in Columbus. Expect Braxton Miller, by the way, to be one of those final 3 Heisman candidates. He'll have a big year. Reason why, though, I'm not giving a detailed Big Ten report, and the reason why we are putting the blogs to an end as of now, there have been some things personally that have happened in my life, and when you have personal things happen that sometimes are more than you can really handle or bear, it does affect other aspects of your life, including this. And me personally, I did tell myself from year one, if I ever have doubts about doing this, which I don't, but if I have doubts or if something is happening in my life that's interfering with these blogs, and that's exactly what's happening, the latter, then it's time to quit. It's time to get out and get out for good. And this time I am serious. I am going to resign from my blogs, and it's going to be effective immediately, and this time it's permanent. Because I have some issues right now in my life dealing with May 20th and the Moore tornado, which I've not talked about before. For one, it's kind of personal. Number two, it's painful, but I have to talk about it because I need to explain why it's kind of interfered with my personal life. My personal life, as you might notice, since last year, I've had weight issues. At one point, I got up to 300 pounds, and just this past November, went to see a doctor, and I went not even for weight purposes, just to find out why I was lacking motivation in my life. Was it stress? Was it age? Was it just pure lack of motivation, lack of testosterone? Why was I not able to do anything? Why did I get into this permanent rut? And my doctor suggested it's all the above. You exercise anymore? I said, no, I don't have the motivation to do it. You eat bad? Yeah, I do. And so she was kind of pinpointing the problems that I already knew but wasn't fessing up to. So my priorities changed, better diet. I do take medicine, but medicine is only 1/4 of the solution. You don't follow the nutrition regimen, if you don't exercise, don't drink a lot of water, and if you don't get adequate sleep, it ain't going to work. It just isn't. And so the pounds came off quickly, lifted weights, ran, got more sleep, did what the doctor told me to do, and the weight melted off like butter. But the last few months, I've been in a plateau area in my life, and I haven't exercised as much. At times, I've eaten poorly. Sometimes I don't sleep very well. So I kind of was going back to the old TheOUSooner56, pre-doctor time period. It's easy to do when you have something that's devastating in your life. Even though I live in Norman, I work in the Moore and Oklahoma City area, where I was the day of May 20th, that afternoon. And so, as you can imagine, a lot happened in my life that day, as I'm sure for some of you who are either there or know somebody who was in Moore, Oklahoma City, or Piedmont that day, or in Shawnee, the day before, you know what that's like, dealing with it, even if you're dealing with it from the outside in. That day I had to deal with it from inside, almost inside the tornado itself. In terms of how close was I would say anywhere from 300 to 350 feet, maybe just barely longer than the length of a football field. It was an F4 to an F5 tornado. Winds probably at 210 miles an hour when it hit our area, and it got bigger as it passed our area. And for those who don't know, neither Oklahoma City nor Moore has a community storm shelter. No safe rooms for the public. So unless you know somebody who's got a cellar, basement, safe room, and their Mother Teresa, and they're going to share it with you, you're out of luck. So that day we hunkered down, and we were in rooms that were not safe rooms or basements because we didn't have them. Then again, a lot of communities in Moore and Oklahoma City don't have them. So you make do with what you can. Just don't get near windows, and we prayed. And we're also watching the newscast on our smartphones live, actually getting updates and actually seeing the tornado itself heading toward our area. And listening to the meteorologists say, you know, if you're not below ground when this thing hits your area, and it was on track to hit our area, you will not survive. At that point, your tonsil feels like it's going to hit your heart and do a number. That day, I will always ask myself, did I do enough? Did I do enough? I'm not forgiving myself for May 20th. I don't look at it from the perspective of I'm alive, I'm unhurt, everybody else is alive, everybody else is unhurt. I look at it as, did I do enough? Will this happen again? What will I do next time? So I will be seeking some help over the next few days, probably a few weeks, however long it takes, because I still have nightmares about May 20th. I feel like I cheated death, and I feel like that I, for some reason, through maybe me, definitely me, but maybe through other people I know, I haven't been forgiven. And I don't know if a counselor can help me with that. It's bothered me to the point where it's kind of taken away my love, not just for college football right now, it's taken away my love toward a lot of the things that I normally do during this time of the year. I'll go ahead and show you real quickly the banner that we were going to display for the Oklahoma Sooners. We're going to do this for the 3-part preview and for their pre- and post-game shows this year. But since it's not going to happen, since I'll never have a chance to really use it, let's go ahead and show it now. There it is right there. I don't know how visible that is. That is pretty. There we go. Awesome. Before I wrap it up for good, and by the way, I am wrapping this up for good. First time I said I was, and it was temporary, but right now the main priority is getting my life together mentally. Physically, after hitting a rut, I'm starting to get it back now, but it's going to take more than just going to the gym, lifting weights, and doing cardio in order for me to be right here, and to be right especially here. Because right now I don't know in terms of where I want my life to be, where it needs to be, and hopefully a counselor can help me answer that dilemma. I want to thank all my subscribers throughout the years. OU subscribers first. I've had a lot of them. And by the way, if you're looking, Sooner fans, for somebody who's damn good at covering Oklahoma, somebody who could be funny, but also somebody who's very knowledgeable and will tell it like it is, Onakuno, I recommend him. He gets a lot of subscribers, lots of hits on his a lot of views on his videos. Highly recommend him, and there's quite a few other Sooner bloggers on there. Hope OU does have a great year, but it's less than 2 weeks away, and right now, I don't want to say I could care less, because I do care, but it's almost like I'm kind of motivated, but not really. Maybe it's the opponent, Louisiana Monroe, but I have a feeling if OU played Notre Dame this week, I wouldn't just be ready to go buy a 12-pack of soda and nachos and all that stuff. I probably wouldn't even make a trip to the store right now. That's where my state is right now. It's not as high as it should be. And again, I'm not going to cheat myself or my subscribers by talking about the Sooners if I am not right here, if I'm not right, because that's not what everybody deserves. To my non-OU subscribers, and there's a lot of them out there, thank you. You know, if you just joined, thank you throughout the years. But right now, emotionally, I'm kind of burned out at the moment. But I did want to offer an explanation. I just didn't want to cut off and have everybody think, why did he just go right in the middle of the shows? I am doing that anyway, but I'm at least trying to put a little explanation behind it. Advice for anybody out there who's thinking about doing a blog, I definitely recommend you do that. Number one thing, make sure that your life priorities are in order. I'm not just talking about emotionally, but also make sure too that you have plenty of time to do it, which I did. I just, again, the motivation wasn't there, and emotionally right now, mentally, I'm not at my best. Okay, make sure that part's taken care of. Number two, show respect to the other side. Most important thing to do. If you do bash the other side, expect to have your side bashed, and also too, if you bash, watch with what names you use, because those fans, believe me, they're not going to be kind to you at all. Number three, I think the biggest thing about a blog is all of a sudden you're going to have rivalry week. There's nothing wrong with talking trash doing a rivalry week, okay? Nothing wrong with that a bit. Of course, there's always limitations to those things, so watch out for that too. And the fourth thing, don't try to be like anybody else. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Have your own style, your own uniqueness, and people will appreciate that anyway. And I think number five, when it comes to doing your own blog, maybe have a gimmick. Maybe have a gimmick like a trivia thing, maybe a numbers deal where, you know, something that maybe separates you from everybody else. Like have a numbers game, which we were going to do this year. Like I was going to say, you know, one number of Big 12 teams who started quarterback returns. One meaning Texas. They're the only team in the Big 12 that's starting quarterback returning that's named Ash. That's kind of a little irony for you. Something like that. Because if you have a gimmick, that basically labels you to the gimmick, and that might get people to not only come back and watch you, but tell other people too. So I recommend you do a blog. Make sure, though, that you give yourself plenty of time. Make sure to have fun with it. And you'd be surprised how often when you check it, you'll see an increase in memberships. And believe me, you'll be glad you did. Again, I thank everybody. I don't expect everyone to understand what I'm going through right now. If you do see me back here again, it'll be a much different capacity. Maybe once my life gets back in order, and it will get in order. It's just as long as it takes. How much time will it take? As long as it takes. As long as it takes. But it will be in a much different capacity. Because again, this is the second time I've had to discontinue it, and this time it's for good. Because again, everybody here who's watched me over the years deserves the best. Okay, and I've had to decommit from this twice, and that's not fair to anybody here. Especially if you've watched me since year one. And if you have, an extra thank you to you as well. Boomer Sooner, and my pick, by the way, for the national championship, Alabama. I got them beating Stanford for the national title, in case anybody was wondering. And my Big 12 picks for the year, Oklahoma State won. I've got a tie actually for second between Oklahoma and Texas. Well, that's it. Since I'm not going to be doing the rest of my shows, if you're a believer in prayer, finally, just please pray for the TheOUSooner56 right now, as I'm trying to deal with several things. And right now, I'm just kind of thinking of the right adjectives to say, and nothing's coming to my head. So with that in mind, I'm going to say bye and say thank you throughout the years, and I'll see you down the road.